I had already decided that I wanted to be a dark fairy for Halloween because, of course, I dress up. Do I have kids? No. Does that make a difference? No, I'm gonna dress up anyways. So I hadn't decided what kind of makeup look I wanted to do until I saw a tutorial from Robert Welsh, and I was like, that fits the vibe. And so I'm gonna start out skincare. I've already got sunscreen and all of that good stuff on. I am gonna go ahead and put on some moisturizer, one of my favorites, not gonna lie. The smell of it is just... I love anything fresh linen-y. I want to make sure to keep the base nice and, I don't know, I guess dewy. I want it to be moisturized because I've noticed that with me, that tends to let my makeup last longer. I am also going to take this Vital Beauty makeup setting spray and just spritz my face before we go in with all of the good stuff. Next up, I'm grabbing this primer. I have not tried it yet, so I'm very curious to see how this lasts. But I'm just going to take this e.l.f. primer. Power Grip Primer. I think it's really interesting that the bottles have different little sayings, and I don't know, sticky doodah, that sounded perfect for me. Now that we are all primed, I am taking my trusty Fenty concealer because, as you can tell, I got some stuff going on. Also, if you notice, my tongue is blue. Ignore. I was drinking Gatorade, trying to stay hydrated. So I'm just going to take and put that on any of my little problem spots. I am not going to blend it quite yet. I like to let it sit a little bit first, melt into the skin some. While that does its thing, I am going to go ahead and grab my absolute favorite brow gel. So this is from Essence. It's a lash and brow gel. I always use it before I go in with any other products. I am going to put some on my lashes because I do sleep with a face mask for migraines pretty much every night. So my lashes do tend to curl a little too much, and I kind of need to help them get back into their appropriate shape. Now that that has had a moment to sit, I am going to start to blend it some, not a whole lot, just a little. Now, I usually use a lot of drugstore foundations. I like so many of them, but my absolute favorite foundation is, unfortunately, this Glossier. Now, I say unfortunately only because prices. Let's be real. Not everyone can afford some expensive makeup products, but this is such a nice product, and it is something that I think is worth a little bit of a splurge on. So I am just going to go in with this. I am using the shade Very Light 1 because I am a very light bitch. This is just something that has such a nice finish, in my opinion. One of the few that has a very, very nice full coverage feel while also still looking like skin. I absolutely love that. As I am getting older, I am finding that I do still want some full coverage look, but I also don't want to look like I'm wearing 100 pounds of makeup. I think maybe the better way to say that is that it's a medium coverage foundation, but that it builds really easily into a full coverage. And it really just depends on how you apply it as to how full coverage it's going to be. Now I'm going to go in with these TJ Maxx Fines because I love a good deal. These are from Tracy. They blend pretty well. I don't know much about the brand. I'm not saying I endorse the brand, but a TJ Maxx Fine is always nice. And these, like I said, do blend really well. So I'm going in first with this one, and I'm just gonna dab it in there. I really want to build some contrast, so I am putting more than I would normally. I feel like I've seen so many different brands that have come out with such similar packaging for the same type of product, and look, I'm not saying I know who did it first. I'm just saying it's really interesting. It's an interesting packaging type, I will say. I can't say that I love the packaging. The product is great. I'm not sure how much I love the applicator because I feel like a lot of product is going to be left in the bottle when the applicator can no longer reach it. And I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Something that I personally do anytime I apply this type of a product is take the same beauty blender I used while doing my foundation, and I'm not adding any more product to it. I'm just taking it and helping to diffuse it a little bit more using the leftover product on the Beauty Blender. Now I'm going in with the blush, and I'm just going to apply that pretty high. And we're going to blend. Okay, I used a little too much product, but it's okay. We got our blender trick. So do you see the difference that that trick does? I do feel like it makes a difference. Also, I mean, a blending, whatever I'm saying, a beauty blender is always a really good option when you're doing any kind of a cream product, so that helps too. For my under eye concealer, I am going to go in with the Wet n Wild Megalast Incognito. I do really like this, I'm not going to lie. I am going to also go ahead and use this as my base for my eyeshadow, just because I really don't feel like pulling out an eyeshadow primer. And honestly, my eyeshadow primer is probably really old. It's not worth taking any chances. So we're just going to take and blend that out on the upper eyes before we go to the under eyes, because again, I like to let my concealer sit a little. I just feel like I get a little bit better of a result. When I do start blending out the under eyes, I like to start with the outer area and do both eyes before I move to the inner area, just so that they can sit a little bit longer, because that inner eye is usually where I need the most coverage. Now, I will say, as much as I love that concealer, it doesn't work the best with all foundations. I have found that some foundations, it seems to kind of slip and slide with instead of actually melding into. Now, the look that Robert did was with purple, and I think it looks absolutely amazing, but for my Halloween costume today, I'm gonna go with green. So I am taking this Revolution palette. I don't know if it's even available anymore, but it has some really pretty greens. Really pretty greens. Also, I didn't know much about this brand when I got this palette, and after I found out some stuff, I can't say that I support the brand too much. I do understand, though, that people do need affordable options, and Revolution does tend to have a lot of affordable options for people, so I do understand why people go for Revolution products. And anytime I have a product already, I'm not going to stop using it just because I don't support the brand, if you get what I'm feeling. Because, like, they already have the money. It's already been purchased. I might as well use it. So I'm going to start with this darker green shade, and I'm just taking that on a flat brush and kind of going to stamp it in where I want it. We're starting in that outer corner, in the outer part of the eye. And then we're going to stamp it in this inner corner. Much like a halo eye, but we're going to do something a little different. I am bringing it just slightly under, because I feel like it would look really good like that. That's just me. That's just me. And then we're going to take and bring it up into the eyebrows. Now, part of the reason I haven't done my eyebrows fully yet is because we're doing this. I do usually also do my eyebrows in green because the hair, but I also really wanted to see how this would look before I decided fully how I wanted to do my brows. I'm going to take and stamp that up a little ways. Now for diffusing that, I'm going to take this one right here. This is a beautiful shade of green, to be honest. It's one of my favorites of any green eyeshadows that I own. So we're taking that on a nice fluffy brush, and we're just going to start like so. I am going over the darker green. I am also bringing it under the eye some. And I want it to be really dramatic, so I am bringing it out. I'm going to take and diffuse this area. Because I do want to intensify this just a little bit, I am going to take this black from this Violet Voss Essentials. I got this in like a BoxyCharm or something. I don't know. I really love this black though. It's one of my absolute favorites. I am just taking that on a smaller little brush, and I'm going to start adding that in where we want just a little more vroom. So we're going to take it and put it in this outer corner. We are then going to go over it with some of the darker green again to kind of fuse them together. So we'll probably just be going back and forth between the darker green and the black just to get that vibe. We want a dark vibe. I'm going to take just a little through here. Not a ton, just a little. Big fluffy brush, lighter green shade, and just gonna diffuse it out a little more. Really help to marry the colors together. Now, depending on what type of product you want to put in the center of the eye, you may or may not need to put something down. I am just going to take some concealer because the product that I plan to use is mostly a glitter. So I'm just going to take some concealer and kind of tap it in where I want that product to go. Just because it does kind of help it to sit a little better and to stay. Now, personally, I'm using concealer because I just don't have a glitter glue. NYX makes my favorite. I have not replaced it in a while, so I just don't have one. It is better to use something like that, though. I am going to go in with this. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, stunning. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and just kind of mix the two together and tap it on. Now, I'm going to start with a brush doing this because I do want to get a little bit of a blend going, and I feel like it'll be a little easier with a brush. But depending on how it lays, I will take my finger and do a little tappy-tappy. Take some green, pick up some silver with it, and I'm just going to tap it in. This is not a look that needs eyeliner by any means, but I'm going to be a little extra because it's Halloween, and I like to be extra. Most days, anyways. So I am taking the Essence Super Precise Eyeliner, and I'm just going to do a little easy wing. Nothing too much, just a little easy wing. Okay, I'm extra as hell. I want to do just a little bit of that. Yeah. I don't know how to describe that. Just the little V on the inside of the eye. I am angling it down. Angling it down just looks a little better with my eye shape. That's just me though. Fallout is a thing. So if you're having any fallout from the glitter, good thing we didn't set the base. I do usually just take a brush like what I used to blend the other products, the blush and the contour bronzer situation out, or beauty blender, and pick it up, as you can tell. So I do just take and pick up any little bit of fallout. That said, I am going to add just a little more glitter just to be a little more extra. I have this deeper shade right here that is stunning. I'm just going to take it on this brush and pop it in this under eye right here. And I'm going to drag it down a little because why not, you know? Yeah, I'm liking that. Is anyone else's concentration face just... And then I'm going to take the same brush that we were using with the black, and I'm not picking up any extra product, but like on this side I didn't bring very much black in, and I'm just going to take and kind of... I like that. I like that. It's coming together. Next up, we're doing brows. So I'm going to take this same black because after doing the look, I've finally decided how I want to do my eyebrows. And I'm going to take this same little black, but I'm going to take it only on the outer half. And then I'm just kind of blending it some into the little bit beyond half mark, just very lightly, no extra product or anything. Now, back into this palette, we're going to take this deep green, and I'm going to, without wiping the brush off, so it does still have a little bit of that black, I'm going to start in the middle, just to have that little bit of darker, and I'm taking on both sides, because again, it does still have a little bit of that black, and I am pulling it into the black as well, just to get a nice blend between the two colors. Now, without wiping off the brush, again, I am picking up a lighter green shade, the same one that we used to diffuse, and I am just going to use that this way. That way we still have some of that deep green, and we're probably going to dip between the two just to get the vibe. I don't want my brows to be overly green because they'll really get lost in the sauce up here, but I'm just taking that on a puff, and I am going to press it in here and a little through here. I am going to take that all over my nose because my nose tends to be an issue for me. A little on my chin. And this area also tends to be an issue with me, mostly because things end up rubbing against it and rubbing the makeup off, which is why I'm taking some through there. Also setting in this area with these problem spots, just because I did layer more makeup there, so it'll help it kind of stay in place. Before I wipe it off, I am going to take this Wonder Beauty Trip for Two little compact situation, and I'm going to take this brown, and we're just gonna buff through here. This is also totally unnecessary because the cream product did what it was supposed to do. I'm just a little extra. Some people really like putting powder products on top of cream products. I really feel like it's a matter of opinion and preference. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends on the vibe I'm going for, and a lot of times I don't even know if I'm going to until I'm already in the process of doing the makeup. Now, before I go in with any kind of powder blush or anything like that, I'm going to take this bigger brush and just kind of blend away the powder. The loose setting powder, I should say. I do want to go in with just a little bit of blush, so I'm going to take this NYX Sweet Cheeks Matte, and this is the shade Red Riot. And I am going to take a little brush. Woo! That is pigmented. I want to keep it high. I really don't want to bring it into this area as much. Big fluffy powder brush. I'm thinking about doing green nose contour, like taking it not maybe all the way, but taking it down some. I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. We'll find out together. I'm taking the deeper green that we've been using on an angled brush, and I'm just taking it a little bit of the ways. Will we regret it? We don't know. So I'm taking a little bit of a bigger brush, and I'm taking the lighter green shade that we've been using, tapping it off a little bit, and using that to kind of diffuse this a little bit. And we're working on really blending this part out. I took it a little bit further down than I initially wanted to, but I'm not hating it yet. You'll see. You'll see. We'll figure this out. Setting powder. And we're going to take that same brush that we were just using. use this to blend it out a little more. Now that I have blended the shit out of that, I am going to take a little bit of highlighter. I am using, again, Marshalls, because I love a good deal. What can I say? But this is the Anastasia Aurora Glow Light Palette. I have had this for so long. But it's pretty decent. Again, not the biggest fan of the way that that company carries itself, but I already had this when I figured that out. So I am just taking this green shade right here, and I am taking that under the brow some, just for a little pop. And I'm also using a very small brush. I'm going to put a little here, that I'm then going to just, you know what, I'm just going in with the finger. Just a little in here. And then here. Still just using that green shade. And yes, I am being overly extra with the highlight. Now I'm just going to take some of the white that I have hit pan on and I'm just going to go over it a little bit. Big brush. It's coming together. For mascara, I've never tried this before, so we are going to go in with something brand new, because why not? This is the Essence Bye Bye Panda Eyes, which hopefully works really well, because I am someone that usually has a lot of transfer. So I tend to not wear very much mascara at all. I was having such a hard time deciding on what I was going to do with the lips, because that could really make or break it, you know? And I decided I'm going to go in with these three. These are all Wet n Wild Megalast liquid catsuits. I'm using these because they really stay. You put them on and they're like, oh, we're here. And we're here to stay. I'm going to start with this black. This is literally just the shade So Noir Cool. And I am going to take just a bit of it, because it's almost dry, and do the corners. And then I'm going to trace the shape that I want the lip to be. I am not taking this on the bottom lip, by the way. I am just doing the top lip. It's looking a little messy. Trust the process. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So I'm going to go in next with Give Me Mocha, which is a little bit of a warmer shade, but we're going to take this. It's still a dark shade, and we're going to marry the two together. I didn't mean to get it on my bottom lip. I am going to take just the tiniest amount of this, just the tiniest amount, on the bottom in the corner. Just to give a gradient on the bottom lip as well. And I'm extending it just a little ways. I'm not going to go all the way. Now we're going to take the other shade. This is Rebel Rose. And we're going to pop that. You know what? We're going to roll with it. These are a little on the old side, so I'm not too surprised. By the way, don't be like me. I think that works. I think that's gonna work. I am gonna take just a little more of this one to blend them together, since I didn't have the applicator on the other one. So I did take and spritz with some setting spray, mostly because I'm going to take some of this highlighter and I'm going to pick up that brush and just pick up some of that green. And I want to just highlight some of these areas. And I know it'll sit better and stick better, last longer on the wet. I am gonna use this, but I have a lot of thoughts. In a separate video, I'm gonna talk about the Raw Beauty Christie situation. Just because I was one of those people who followed her for years and I didn't know about a lot, and I just have a lot of thoughts. This is from her collab with ColourPop, and I bought the whole collab and I'm gonna use it because I own it. But I have a lot of thoughts. I'm just popping that in the center on the bottom, taking in just a little bit, so just a little bit gets up here. Not quite enough because it is a thicker consistency. So I'm just taking a little bit to put up here. That's good. I was having a hard time deciding whether or not I wanted to use some falsies, but I have these and they're just so fun, so I'm gonna do it. So this is our final look, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm obsessed. I love it. I could see myself doing this any time of the year, probably because I tend to wear this exact costume any time of the year. I hope everyone has or had a wonderful Halloween, depending on when I get this up or when you see it. And I just want to remind you, you can have fun with makeup and you can dress however you want any time of the year. You don't have to just wait for Halloween. But if you're more comfortable waiting for Halloween, I get it. I see you. You're valid. Bye.